Hello, my friend. Today we are taking off in this diamond aircraft here, and when we take off, I will show you where we are. We are just over the beautiful Florida Keys. So, where I am in terms of the Florida Keys right now is we are near the very final tip, the last island of the Florida Keys that has a road to it. And our goal today is to make a flyby of a curious little fort that was built out in the ocean that was intended to defend the United States, probably from armies getting into the Mississippi. But it's got a very interesting story. We'll tell you more about that in a minute. But in the meantime, what we have here is there is a event coming up right here in the next minute or so that Flight Simulator recently added, which was more sailboats and boats and water traffic type things. And while these guys are not moving, there are two cruise boats right up here that actually show off the fact that they have added to the game. The cruise boat on the left, I recognize the top of the exhaust as the Carnival Cruise Line. It's modeled after that. And then the one on the right, I'm not sure which one that is. That might be Princess, but it's hard to tell. Anyway, so those models actually look surprisingly good and not too shabby. But anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about this. Fort Jefferson was built 70 miles off of this last larger island of the Florida Keys. Now, I'm talking about the larger island of Florida Keys because Florida Keys has a interstate road that actually goes all the way out to one of the furthest islands. Now, we've flown beyond that, which is not a big deal, but in order to drive out you can't drive out any further, you have to go by boat. And where we're headed right now, this little custom waypoint right here, this is the furthest south point of the contiguous United States. And I was very surprised to see that there's some sort of like small resort or ownership. Somebody owns a house out here. But if you were to stand on this very beach right here, you'd be farther south than any other point in the United States. All of the United States is north of that point. That's kind of cool. That may not, according to my look of the map, I don't know if that includes the islands of Hawaii, because there's a possibility the islands of Hawaii were not included in that. So now we are headed on our 70-mile flight to get to Fort Jefferson. And during this, let's just look at this. I've got some things up for you. We've got, oops, wrong one. There we go. Hey, look at that. Okay, so Fort Jefferson, so this is where we're at right now. We just barely passed this for this south point, and so we can zoom in on this. It actually says southernmost point of in the contiguous United States. So that's not too bad. That's pretty cool. And the fact that the AI drew some buildings out there, that's really nice. But now we are headed out to this point way over here. So we are headed to Fort Jefferson. Oh, I was going to show off the Florida Keys. This is the kind of following the route of this route number 1, a state route number 1. It adds up to nearly 109, 110-ish miles to get out to the island where we took off. And then we started heading towards Fort Jefferson from there. The alternative name for this area is Dry Tortugas, which covers this entire area right here. This, I think that it says it's a national park, which was kind of cool. Now, I don't know. We will have to see if this Loggerhead Lighthouse is out here, but that would be a fun little addition onto this trip. But this place was huge, and they had some very interesting things that they had tried to get ready for. Let's talk about the fort. Like, they constructed it out of brick, and they brought in 16 million bricks, making it the third largest fort that defends the coast ever built. Well, that would have defended the coast because it never actually was finished. It is considered the largest masonry structure in the country, and the fort, like I said, it was never finished. It took 30 years before they finally said, nope, we're done. And people just abandoned the island. So what I'm going to do fly-wise is I'm going to do a time-lapse just speed it up, and we will see what it looks like as we get closer. So our aim is out here, and I'll leave this map here so you can watch our progress. Let's see if, well, I guess that's the closest I can get without it causing problems. Okay, so and I'm going to talk behind I'm going to keep talking. It may be a fort, but it was never actually saw any battles and was never engaged in any military activity. But it did house prisoners during the Civil War. That's kind of cool. A little freaky. It consists of two major types of brick. The yellow bricks were placed before the Civil War, and they came from Pensacola, Florida. And then after the Civil War, they used red brick that they shipped down from Maine. Not too bad. The fort was equipped with 520 heavy guns that were never used. And at the day of their construction, these guns were considered to be among the most advanced weapons of their day. So not too bad. This was going to be a big defensible location. Which confuses me because, like, when you look at the loneliness of this area, it's like, this is not anywhere nearby anything. Like, I don't know how you could make any use of a defensible position. If you were trying to defend New Orleans and the bottom of the Mississippi, it would be pretty difficult. Like, I don't know, maybe you would be able to see to Havana, I don't know. But really, this is one of those things where they would have to come to you to fight, because even just zoomed out this far, that place looks tiny. Like, you can barely see what's going on in this area, or that there's anything going on in this area. I don't know. And, but that being said, it's just like, what do you do with that? Like, it's a massive fort, the third largest in the country, that was supposed to defend the coasts, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I guess I could be a little bit further off the water, but we are pretty much, we are pretty much away from it all. And that's just kind of weird. I found it really interesting that the walls to this fort are over 8 feet thick, and they made a total height of 45 feet from the bottom from the foundation to the top of the walls. That's pretty high, and that's pretty solid walls. If it had gone into a battle, I'm pretty sure that the fort would have been pretty well survivable in that logic. Even though it's the largest building in the Dry Tortugas, which is one out of 5 buildings in the Dry Tortugas, the fort isn't located on the largest key in that area. It's actually on the key being the island. It's not located on the largest island of the group. It's on the second largest. So I think that the lighthouse, which we'll take a look at, yeah, the lighthouse is the largest probably for this entire key. And so I wonder why they chose to do that. Like, it doesn't make sense. It was originally used as a prison. That's why I mentioned that it did house prisoners at one point in time. And, yeah. Well, anyway. So let's go take a look at it. Welcome back from that time lapse. I don't know if the game is just being preemptive and it's drawn early, but I don't see very much island around here. And it could just be that the island itself is very, shallow. Oh, yeah, it does look like the island is just very close to sea level. This fort, I mean, we're just over, we're 4 miles away, and that thing is still, yeah, you can feel the size of this building. I am genuinely impressed that the amount of work that went into building a fort out here, taking 30 years just for it to get abandoned in 1875, that's kind of hilarious. Let's just get a good flyover of this and see what it's like. Wow, that looks tiny from this perspective. Oh, geez, it's so fun to fly out to this. It really lets you know, like, there's nothing around here. Oh, I think I saw there's something in the mirror, like there's something being drawn there. I don't know if that's an island or anything. It's just nothing here. Still boggles my mind that this was built to be a defense post and it never got used. Like, that is a lot of work, quite literally, for nothing. Yeah, that island is just almost at sea level. So I will try to get as low as I can to the water. I should have brought a water landing aircraft, but I didn't think about that. Look at the beauty of this. You can see how they could have had cannons in all these little windows, all defensive, and then you have these batteries on top. Wow. They really tried hard to make a good looking place. Like this, the setup of this reminds me of just general forts that we've had around the United States. And it just looks like the intent was really true. Like, also over here, we're flying over what should be a dock, but part of it has been destroyed. Like, you can see the pylons in the water over there, and there's a second dock over here. According to the pathway that I see, it looks like there is some sort of ferry or tour that comes out and lands near these docks over here. Wow, look at that. Isn't that just awesome? And really, from the air, this is not very much to look at. This would definitely be something that you would want to take the time to go visit in person, walk around. And it almost makes me feel like this is also a site that was used in one of the recent James Bond movies, but I'm not fully sure. Anyway, I want to see what this building is out here, so I will go take a look at it. In the meantime, if you want to stay with me, that's great. If not, I can understand if you guys are leaving. But I think this is a lighthouse, but we will see if Flight Simulator actually renders it correctly. This is the other island. So I told you that Fort Jefferson was built on the the second largest island. You saw what that island looked like. This is supposed to be the larger island, or key, and there is supposed to be a lighthouse out here, but I'm betting that the render system did not attribute for a lighthouse. It looks as though there was a decent lighthouse written or drawn on top of the Jefferson fort, but this bigger island just seems to have a few buildings rendered on it. And no, there is not a lighthouse. If I'm not... I'm pretty sure the lighthouse was supposed to be this building right here, and that is definitely not lighthouse material. And it's possible if the maps... Yep, you can see the shadow. I think that's the shadow of the lighthouse. And our totally missing lighthouse. Aw, man. That's a bummer. Oh well. Looks more like a road rather than a shadow. Well, that's all I got for you today. Hope you guys have fun. Enjoy your flights. And, I hope that these fun little historical markers and monuments is a fun way to explore and see the world. We'll see you next time.